studies, but right now, listen, I just want to know,
vaccinated children are healthier than unvaccinated children. Then I will put that study on my website, and I will quit my job. On the side that shows that autism is caused by vaccines, there's over 100 studies.
Is there a peer-reviewed research document that you can point me to that determines there's a direct causal connection between the vaccines, which you're so critical of, and autism?
Many.
RFK Jr.'s Trump's controversial pick to lead the health department awaits his Senate confirmation hearing on Wednesday. Now, more than 80 organizations opposed his nomination. One even launched a $250,000 ad campaign to persuade Republican senators against him. If confirmed, he would head 18 agencies, including the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, as well as the Food and Drug Administration. Joining me now is Dr. Jayne Morgan. She's a medical expert and the Vice President of Medical Affairs at Hello Heart. Dr. Morgan, thank you so much for joining us today. Look forward to hearing what you think about all this, because RFK Jr.'s nomination comes as less children are getting vaccinated. KFF, I wanted to ask you about this. It's a nonprofit group that researches health policy issues, reporting that less than 93% of kindergartners had received their state-mandated vaccines in the last school year. So as we take a look at all of what could be ahead for RFK Jr., what kind of effect do you think his vaccine policies could have here?
One of the effects that we've seen, and it's such a great question, with regard to really throughout all of his years of leading an anti-vax campaign, which really has been cloaked as a vaccine safety campaign, is that it creates confusion for the American public. And what happens to human beings when there's confusion? Inertia develops and we simply do nothing. We are frozen and we don't know which messages to listen to. But here's a person without a scientific background. And the way this began is in 1998, Andrew Wakefield published a paper in Lancet that demonstrated that autism was related to vaccines. That paper was not only refuted, not only shown to have gross negligence and multiple errors, not only was it retracted, but it was actually determined to be fraudulent. So an incredible categorization of this paper. But that fraudulence wasn't actually formalized until 2010. And so between 1998 and 2010, so much damage had been done in creating all of this uproar and confusion that is what drives what is happening now. And this is what we are seeing with regard to whether the Americans are interested in vaccines or not.
You know, I'm glad you brought that up, because I've talked to a lot of moms about this, and people are really confused at times. They're not quite sure what to do, especially as newborns. You know, reports that RFK Jr. shifted his stance on vaccines to get confirmed. Do you think that he should be the next health secretary? What are your thoughts?
I don't think he should be the next health secretary, director of Health and Human Services. He's unqualified. I'm certainly a better candidate than he is if we actually are wanting to look at scientific credentials and someone who is steeped in science to be over the CDC, the FDA, and the NIH. When we look at vaccines, not only are they not related to autism, it's also, you know, this conversation of whether natural immunity is better. And certainly natural immunity is a path that people can take to get immunity, but it also involves a lot of morbidity, meaning illness. And we also, as an American public, have to be able to tolerate a certain amount of death. Death comes along with natural immunity. Vaccines prevent these types of occurrences, and we probably don't remember death. But even back in COVID, after vaccines came out, there were another 300 to 400,000 people who died, who refused those vaccines. In science, we call those needless deaths. But the fact of the matter is that most of those lives could have been preserved with vaccines and not going the natural immunity route. Natural immunity is effective, but it requires a tolerance of a certain amount of death within the community and within society.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.